How to paraphrase in an academic paper. A paraphrase is when we borrow the ideas of another, but we phrase them significantly differently. Paraphrasing is important because it helps maintain your own writing style throughout the paper while still using outside research. It also allows us to put the focus on what we find to be important in the original phrasing. However, paraphrasing can be tricky at first for students since it can be difficult to determine when something is phrased differently enough to avoid plagiarizing. A good first step to avoiding plagiarism is to be sure that you thoroughly understand what the author is saying. It's a good idea to reread the passage a few times and take notes in your own words. Another good strategy is to write up a first draft to explain the idea as if you were explaining it to a friend or family member. This not only helps you to create better paraphrasing by using your own words and style, but it can also help you to digest the information better. In this first draft stage, it's fine and even encouraged to use informal language. Once you have the essence of the idea out on your paper or screen, you can edit out the informal language and polish it up to read like an academic paper. Let's do a quick example. Here's a short passage from an ebook by Richard Ellis, published in 2009. Information you need about your audience prior to communicating. In order then for our communication to be successful in these terms, we have to know what our audience will be. This sounds easy, but in practice it can be very difficult to achieve. Sometimes we do know pretty well who the audience will be. We know that it is Joe who is coming next for the interview. We know that it is Aunt Betty who will read the letter we are struggling with. We can safely assume that it will be a tax inspector who will scrutinize our arithmetic on the tax form. So, if I were trying to explain this to a friend, I would probably say it something like this. Well, the idea of it all is that when you know the person you're trying to communicate with, you know about what they expect from you. Sometimes you even know what they like, don't like, and what their goals are. All this information helps you determine how to best word your idea in a way that will be accepted by them. Like, my boss would probably react better to a proposal backed by statistics and facts, but my friends and family may react better with an anecdote. Now let's take that and transform it into something paper-worthy. First, we'll take out the informal language, like changing the use to something else. Alright, now let's polish this up a bit by changing a few words here and there to make it sound a little bit more academic. For example, let's change knows in the first sentence to understands. We can also switch out the verb reacts in the fourth sentence to something else to sound a bit more academic. There we go. That's a great deal different from the original passage, but it still delivers the same idea. Once we've successfully created the paraphrase, we have one last step to complete, citing our source. Even though we've successfully rephrased it, the idea is still something that we've borrowed from someone else. So we must make sure that we've given them the proper credit through citations. So the final version will sound something like this. According to Ellis, parentheses 2009, in parentheses, when a speaker knows the person that they're trying to communicate with, it's more likely that they understand what the other person expects of them. Sometimes the speaker may even know their likes, dislikes, or even their goals. All of this helps to determine how to best word one's message or idea in a way that will be accepted by them. Parentheses Ellis 2009 in parentheses. For example, a manager or professor would likely receive a message better framed with statistics and facts, but friends and family may accept the message better with an anecdote. If you ever have trouble with this, don't hesitate to reach out to your instructor or a live tutor for some help.